Good morning, go-getters. How are you doing? I'm a little bit late. Sorry. This morning kind of started a little bit slower. My kids are going back to school today, so that is going to be awesome. And I'm getting a little sun on my face here. You can see. I'm so happy. It's been raining for the last 3 days in Houston, so I'm really excited to get a little bit of sunshine today. Maybe go out for a walk or do something really cool. Anyway, so glad you're here. See, some people are joining me. Let me know if you're here by just telling me in the comments that you're here. I'd love to see if you are, and I'd love to connect with everybody. So I'm excited because this is the second week actually that we are in what I'd call we've locked our own self down. So we've just stayed home and done nothing else. The city is still pretty closed. All the restaurants are closed where we are in Houston. I don't know what they're like where you are. Would be love to hear what's going on where you are. I just heard this morning that Dallas County has been given um, they're going to be in place, so shelter in place order, and several other cities around the country have done the same. So I know that this, continues, and we all are like wondering what this all means. And so what I wanted to come talk about today was really about how you can find your own superpower and apply it to the people that need you the most right now. So I think that all of us want to feel useful in something like this. And one of the things that I think happens or likes to happen is that sometimes what will end up happening is that people will focus on what they don't have in a moment. So I've been seeing that a lot in some of the groups that I'm in and so on. They've talked about what they don't have, the hand sanitizer and if you don't have milk or you don't have like water or like bottled water or whatever it is. And I think that it's really easy to get so focused on what you don't have that you don't think about what you do have and what you can do. So that all goes all the way from your basic needs all the way up to like self-actualization. So I actually have a really great coach who talked about this yesterday, that a lot of people right now are in the bottom three parts of like what I call the Maslow's triangle. And if you've ever seen the Maslow's triangle, I should probably draw it for you. But at the bottom, you have your basic needs. And then in the middle, you kind of keep moving up all the way to the top, which is really like you're self-actualized and you're doing that. Well, I think during this time, honestly, we can take what we're doing now and become more self-actualized. And part of that is by really dialing in on what your superpower is and how you can help. So let me give you some examples just to kind of get you there. So for example, I have a company that I work with called CSC. They do all of our they are like my company is registered in Delaware, and so they are our address, I guess you could call them, in Delaware. And so because of that, we are registered in Delaware. We have to have an address in Delaware. So therefore, and ergo, we have CSC. They do that for us. So that being said, hold on a second. I'm just like looking down here to see I can see myself. I'm going to share this with a couple of places. Anyway, that being said, what they've done, and I thought this was really brilliant, is that they help companies from all over the country to also register and deal with their like franchise taxes and like file their reports. So if you have a business like I do, like an LLC, you have certain requirements in the state that you have to fulfill every year, including turning in your minutes from your minutes from your notes and from your, in my case, I'm only me, but so you have to turn this thing in and you have to pay a little fee. So they've done an entire list of all the taxing authorities from the different states, and they've started to keep up with that. Who's open, who's closed, what are the filing deadlines, which ones have changed, which ones are the same. That's brilliant. They've taken their superpower, which is really understanding all that tax stuff from all over the country and like boiling it down into a list for people that want to go and check. Like, I don't know if my taxing authority is open. So they're turning to CSC. They send us an email. They say, hey, we're keeping up this list for you. Go check it out. Go see what's up for you and your state. I think that's a really brilliant thing. So that's their superpower. And they've turned it into something that are going to help people during this time and serve their customers. And that's really where I want to go with this. How can you serve the people that you work with or that are your customers better during this time than you ever have? So let me give you another example that I think was really good. For example, I actually am a part of a group called Advance Your Reach. And I've been a part of that for about a year. Some of you may have heard me talk about this before, but it's basically my speaking coach. And I've gone to several different workshops with them, and I have weekly training with them and coaching and stuff like that. So um, they have a huge event that's was coming up at the end of April, at 1st of May, and that has been canceled, as all big events have been canceled, as you know. So what's ended up happening is, there a lot of the people that have events, including myself, so I'll talk to you about social media breakfast in a minute, have transitioned to being an online event. But that could just be like, you know, simply live streaming. So it can be a very simple thing. Set up a camera and start live streaming and really deliver. So that's a really cool way to do it. And that's how we did social media breakfast last month. With very, very little notice, we were able to transition to just a live stream. And as those of you who go to social media breakfast, we've been live streaming everyone anyway. So it was sort of like a switch that was pretty clear and easy for us to do. But this one is like a big event, like, with all the speakers and all the people. And so how do you do that? And I know some people have said, we're going to do the whole event online, which has also got its own issues. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But what was interesting about what Pete Vargas did, who is the leader of Advance Your Reach, is that he didn't just replace the event with online streaming. He did something that I think was really, really, like, we could take notes and do it ourselves. In fact, I was taking notes. So number one, he added more stuff. So for example, he said, okay, we're going to definitely do an online version of this. But it wasn't the same old. He says, we are going to do something called Interactive 360. And it's going to be way different than like what the live event will be. And also, for next year, we're going to transfer your tickets to next year from this year. So you will be able to attend Reach Live, which is the live event next year, just the same as you did this year. So it was like a 2-for, all of a sudden. So you have like this year's event, which is Interactive 360, and he explained what it was in pretty good detail. They're going to do breakout groups and a bunch of cool stuff. Because if you have Zoom, like a paid version of Zoom, or I actually use Blue Jeans, and they've added this recently, you can do breakout rooms of people. So people can attend the meeting, and then you can break them out into smaller groups to have discussions, which I loved. And so much so that this next social media breakfast, we're going to attempt to do it. So I've never done it before, so I'll have to like test it in the next week or so. But in 2 weeks, we have social media breakfast coming up. I have Jeff Reichman, who is going to be coming to talk about storytelling with data. And right now, can you imagine, with all of the stuff we're doing with data around COVID-19 and looking at all the different maps? And this has been huge for storytelling with data, because you can't see COVID-19. You can't see it. It's like, something that you can't really grasp. And so a lot of people have done some great work with that. So that is a superpower. So his superpower is events. So now he's creating an event that's totally different from other events that you may have ever seen. So taking your superpower, crunching it down, and then giving it out. So he's doing that. He's giving them both this year, this new Interactive 360, and he made it very exciting, by the way. And he's like, I can have more people here to come talk to you than I could in the live version. So he's got that. He's also saying in 2021, you're going to get your ticket transferred to 2021. Perfect. And then he also added a third piece, which is going to be a challenge between now and for the whole month of April, basically, before this Interactive 360 thing, to get people like ready, like get them primed. So that was an extra one that he didn't have to throw in. He did. So I think over delivering right now would be a great plan if you can do it. So I think that's one. So one was at CSC, they did that state taxing authority thing table, which I can actually put all the links to these things in here so you can see what they're doing. Then also Advance Your Reach, Reach Live, Pivot. I thought that was really, really good for people who have live events and things. And then the third one, which I want to share with you, which is what a lot of really interesting companies are doing. And Grateful Dane Distilling here in Houston. I heard about this through the guy who owns it, his mother, because she's my photographer. So that cool picture of me in the red shirt that's everywhere, she took that picture. Anyway, she started talking about how they were going to make hand sanitizer, and he has a rum distilling company. And as many of you know, there's been a change in the regulations so that alcoholic beverage makers can now use their byproduct, which actually is basically hand sanitizer, and bottle it and sell it or give it away. So they made this announcement that if you came in this last Saturday and you were going to buy rum or whatever, they would give you some hand sanitizer as well. Or you could just buy the hand sanitizer directly. Some of these different organizations are giving that stuff away, but this is a very small distiller, so they had to like pay for their little bottles and whatever. Anyway, they gave them away until they ran out of the little plastic bottles. In fact, that's one of their big problems right now. So if any of you guys know a really great way to get cheap little plastic bottles to put hand sanitizer in, let me know. I'll send it over to them. But the basic idea was that, you know, you could take this hand sanitizer. Now, he doesn't have any more bottles right now for consumers because we don't have the bottles again. So he's giving them in big buckets to first responders. So, you know, the people that are out there that are dealing with all this. So they're getting this hand sanitizer by the bucket, which is awesome. It's, you know, if you know how bad it is to get a hand sanitizer, you can't. Because I told you at the beginning of this, I'm hearing people really, really distressed that they don't have hand sanitizer, which, by the way, just get some soap, guys. A bar of soap will work great for washing your hands. So don't freak out about the hand sanitizer thing. We've really like switched to soap. Also, paper products like toilet paper and paper towels. So I've just grabbed a lot of old rags and stuff from around the house, and we're just moving on to different ways of dealing with stuff. So I think having creativity during this time and not focusing on what we don't have, but what we do. So for me, obviously I've been coming on here every morning, talking to you all, hi, and hopefully helping some of you as we've gone along. So that would be awesome. So you know, those are the kinds of things you could do, is like just show up for your audience so that they have somebody to talk to. And if you have any questions about like how to find your superpower, let me know. I'm like happy to go through it. But one of the things that I think you should do is look inside of your own head. So if you think to yourself, somebody should do X, Y, Z. This has happened to me a lot. So for social media breakfast, I've been doing this for 10 years. Sometimes people will come up to me and say, oh, you should have a social media breakfast in the Woodlands. And I look at them and I think, So I usually say, okay, yeah, that's a great idea. Do you want to lead that up? That might be, I mean, if you have a passion for it, maybe you should do it. I'm just saying, if there's something that you are thinking to yourself, somebody should be doing this. It's a need that needs to be met. Maybe it's because you're the person that's supposed to do it. Ever think about that? So yeah, that's the thing, you know, is who is supposed to do each thing? Each of us have something to do during this crisis, and really in life in general, guys. This is just a microcosm of what life is in general. We are just under pressure right now. So there's a lot of things that, you know, kind of bubble to the surface when you're under pressure like this. And so I think right now is the time to really look inside and journal. I mean, one of the things that's really been great for me is just sitting down and journaling. I actually, back to Advance Your Reach, because they've done a good job. Last year at Reach Live, what they had us do is they had us write a letter to ourselves as if we were a year on and we'd accomplished everything that we'd hoped to accomplish. And so we wrote a letter to ourselves about these accomplishments and put it in an envelope, and then they mailed it to us a couple of weeks ago, which is really, really interesting. I actually should pull it out, but I don't have it right here, but I would. But the bottom line is that when I opened it and I read it, I was like, wow, okay, yeah, this is the thing that I've gone a long ways toward a lot of these goals and dreams, which I'm really excited about. So maybe that's something you should do. I mean, a small step is just sitting down and thinking about, hey, it's a year from now, and if you had no COVID, no fears about like losing your job, no difficulties, you had all the budget in the world, you could do whatever you wanted to do something in the world, what would that be? And then write a letter to yourself as if you're telling yourself about how you've accomplished that goal. So what would you say to yourself if you accomplished that goal? Like if you met yourself in the street and you had accomplished that goal, what would you say to yourself? And write a letter about that. So I think taking some more reflective time is not bad either. Just jumping into stuff maybe is not always the best. So think about where that is. And then if you look at those different ideas, which one is the thing that people need right now? You know, what is the thing that people need right now, and take that first step. take that first step, because showing up is really a big part of all of it. I mean, I've been doing social media and kind of hanging out in the space for, I don't even know. I mean, 2005 is when I started my first blog. So a long time. And I've had ups and I've had downs, and I've had places where I'm really, visible, and I've had invisibility times and gone back and forth. This is a marathon, not a sprint. I'll say that. So sprints are just short things and then you quit, right? So you can do little sprints to get yourself up to where you want to get to. But the bottom line is that this is a marathon, guys. Like, part of what your business is being in a marathon. And so you have to keep have perseverance. And there's going to be hard times. There's going to be times where it really seems difficult and you're not sure you're going to make it, but you haven't come this far to quit. Okay, so this is the truth. So move forward in everything that you're doing. I'm really, really glad to be on this journey with you. Please let me know if I can help you in any way, and let me know if this helped you at all. Tell me one thing that you really think that you might want to do in the next, let's say, 14 days. Hey, 14-day quarantine. If you were quarantined for 14 days and you could get one thing done, what would that be? The 14-day quarantine challenge. Ooh, okay, so I'm starting to think. So there you go. We all have these moments. We are not going to always have fun, but the bottom line is that we do have it. And so hopefully you're not sick. Hopefully you're well. Let me know if we can help you in any way, and if you have any questions. And I'll put some of the links to the things I talked about in the show notes. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.